Result. It's a tribute to all the ones who ran before me. Known to spit truth so y'all can understand his glory. It's a tribute to all the ones who ran before me. Known to spit truth so y'all can understand his glory. It's a tribute to all the ones who ran before me. Known to spit truth so y'all can understand his glory. It's a tribute to all the ones who ran before me. Known to spit truth.
Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to episode 9 of Unsolicited. I am your host, the Evangelical Norm. Unsolicited is my podcast where I just give my unsolicited opinion on whatever I feel led to give my unsolicited opinion on. And today we're going to talk about a couple of things. I've really never done Unsolicited for an entire podcast before, but Cross-Examine just finished their first season this last week, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. There's a couple of reasons why I wanted to bring this up, but one, I mean, this is probably, as far as podcasts go, I mean, I'm usually like either just a strictly theological podcast kind of guy. You know, I like to listen to Apologia. I like to listen to The Dividing Line. Again, I get kind of my politics, my current events and stuff with a theological bent. I mean, even Steve Deace, I like to listen to Ben Shapiro. So keeping it kind of mixed up, a little diverse, cross-politic, of course. But as far as just kind of stepping back from the politics, the weight of the news and stuff like that, and to get into a podcast that is just music. And I mean, and they do when current events kind of work their way into music, they'll talk about it. Even this last week they talked a little bit about Joshua Harris, simply because Curt knew him. Curt was in the documentary that was done, which was, I think, called I Survived, I Kissed Dating Goodbye. He was in that documentary. So they talked about it a little bit. So once in a while, some different kinds of things pop in. But mostly, as you can see, Cross-Examine, the one-stop shop for hip-hop. A couple of the episodes, just to give you kind of an idea, let me pull them up on my phone here real quick, and we'll take a look at. I'll give you an idea of what some of the episodes they did. Of course, they had the Sweet 16, the Sweet 16 bar challenge, the 16 bar challenge. They did 4-part on four-part series on R.I.P. CHH. Is CHH dead? That was probably one of the best portions of the season. They had Quiet Storm and The Apologist in a couple of the episodes, so it was pretty cool. Did hip hop slang pave the way for what was that? For transgenderism? I mean, so many good episodes. I recommend going back and listening to the whole season. I would say my favorite episode that they did was where they just kind of broke down hip-hop love songs, right? And that was when I realized that Curt Kennedy and we've got to be very close to the same age, because just the music that we listen to, I was like calling them out in my truck as I was working, before they would play them. I'd be like, Far Side passing me by, and they would, boom, there it would go. And so it was really cool, and it's just a great podcast. If you want to just kind of get away from the heavier stuff and just some fun, light stuff, and Curt and Tony from Hazakim Tone Stallone, and just they work so well together. They really balance each other out as they're going. So this is one of my favorite podcasts, and so I'm recommending this highly. Go listen to it. And it's not just because Curt shouted me out on the podcast this week. Thanks, Curt, for the shout out. But no, the reason why, one, Curt is, he's a pastor in D.C. He's also doing these podcasts, and this is his time to take a sabbatical. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. See here, with this, I'm getting a little off of what I would normally do on an unsolicited podcast. But pray for your pastors. Make sure you're praying for your pastors. They need to take a break every once in a while. The heavy stuff that gets weighed on them, So he's taking a sabbatical, no preaching, no counseling, no anything. He is probably, I think he's even said he's not going to his church. He's going to go to other churches and stuff like that. And it's really good for pastors to take some time and step back. So that was the one thing I wanted to just mention. Make sure you're praying for your pastors. If Curt is your pastor, I doubt anybody from Curt's church is watching this. 7 people are going to see this video. But if Curt's your pastor, pray for Curt. Pray for your pastor, though. Make sure and let them know, that you appreciate them. They get the complaints all the time. You preach too long. You preached wrong on this. You did this. You did this. Your pastors are going to hear the complaint all the time. Make sure you give them a shout out and just say, hey, I was blessed by your message. Hey, I was blessed by this. Or, you are just a blessing to me. Just let them know that you appreciate them. Not just in the month of October, which is Pastor Appreciation Month. Let them know. And pray for your pastors. Make sure you're praying for them. Then the other thing that Tone mentioned, that Hazakim, amazing opportunity. If you haven't heard the Origins album, go check out the Origins album because it's amazing. And then check out C4 and the appendix as well. These two guys in this podcast, just some amazing music that's coming, and we got to give credit to Mike from Hazakim as well. But just amazing music, some theologically sound, politically challenging. These guys definitely top 5 of my favorite artists, period. So good albums, go check them out. But Hazakim has been given an opportunity. Answers in Genesis, which is the really big creation science ministry that is out there. Ken Ham started it. He's a creation scientist. They built the replica of Noah's Ark. So they have the Noah's Ark exhibit out there in Kentucky at the Answers in Genesis Museum. Go check that out if you get a chance. But so they got a hold of Origins, the album. Someone hooked them up with it, and they are making a curriculum. I don't know if it's a homeschool curriculum or what, but they're taking that and putting together a curriculum because this Origins has such a solid creationist, even science to it, in the different songs that are on there. And so they're doing that, and they asked Hazakim to do a couple more songs, like 3 more songs. So Tone asked for some prayer for him and Mike while they're preparing to do this. So I wanted to just ask you guys, as you're watching or listening to this, to make sure you're praying for Tony and Mike from Hazakim, that God will give them the inspiration for these new songs, and that He'll give them, again, when I think about a lot of the CHH artists, and there are some out there that aren't the greatest, and you'll never see me badmouth them on here. I'm not going to go grab somebody that's just horrible and just drag them through the mud to drag them through the mud. If I'm putting someone on here, it's because I think they're great. And I just want to tell you about it, and I want to encourage you to go check them out. But I was thinking about it as I was listening to Cross Examine this week. I was thinking about in in when they were building the temple in not the tabernacle, all the things went in the tabernacle. So Exodus, Genesis and Exodus, as you get into those two books, and God is giving talent to these people to build the lampstands and all the tools and the things that went into the tabernacle, and then the temple later on with when Solomon built the temple. You know, God gave these craftsmen, specifically gave them skills to make the best stuff, the best items and utensils and instruments and furniture and curtains and all the things that went into between the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant and all the things that were made. God gave these craftsmen exceptional skill in order to do that and make those things and make them glorifying to God. I think that a lot of the CHH artists, especially excuse me, especially the guys that I'm going to talk about, you know, when I see someone that I'm like, man, these guys are just amazing with the skill that they have, I think that God does that same thing. He gives these guys some amazing skill to write the rhymes that they write and to make the beats that they make. And I think it ultimately, when I look at what Wrath and Grace is putting out right now, what Infantry is putting out right now, what Hog Mob is putting out right now, all those guys, I think it exceeds what the culture is doing, and that's what we should do as Christian. You know, when I'll put the Appendix up against any Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole or any hip hop album that's out there. I'll put the Appendix up against that. I'll put Origins up against that. Any of those albums, and exceedingly good is what these are. So pray for Tony and Mike. Pray for Curt while he's on his sabbatical, and check out the past episodes. If you've never looked into Cross Examine, check it out. I mean, I don't think you will be disappointed if you look into it and see what they've got going. Check out the past episodes, and then they'll be back in about 6 weeks. I think they said they'll be dropping season 2. So, you know, get in there, subscribe, leave them a review on iTunes or whatever. I don't know why Google Play doesn't give me I use Google Play to listen to my podcast, and I don't know why they don't give me the opportunity to give like a 5-star review or something like that. So I always have to remember to go back to iTunes, even though I don't use it. I go and look them up just so I can give the review. Do those things. Hit them up, give them a review, subscribe. You'll love the podcast. And so, having said all that, now I want to talk about another artist and an album that he dropped, and it's been out for a few weeks, and I slept on it. I don't know what happened. The day it came out, Zae da Blacksmith dropped Alchemy. It's probably been out for about a month. I don't remember when I bought it, but I got it the day it went out. I know I listened to it like once or twice. And then whatever, life happened, something moved into the way, and I completely forgot that I had this. And then the day before yesterday, I was just flipping through, and I'm like, wow, there's Zae da Blacksmith, Alchemy, and I really haven't listened to that. So I, put it on rotation in the truck while I was driving, and man, why did I sleep on this album? I try to talk cool. I'm an old white guy, so I'm not the hippest dude. So I fall back on the slang from back in my day, deaf, dope, stuff like that. I think the cool thing today to say is this album is sick. I don't know why that's a good thing, but this album is fire. We'll go there. That's what I tweeted. This album is heat. Man, some of the beats that are on here, I mean, and I'm a beat guy. Again, call me the stereotypical white guy, white hip-hop lover. I maybe it's just because I'm old. I don't understand the words all the time. It is so helpful when people drop a video or put out the lyrics so I can read along, because I don't hear as fast as some of these guys rap. And so, but I hit those beats, and man, Zae has some guys, and this is the thing I loved about this album was, and not everybody does it. I mean, you can find where they get their beats and who makes their beats, but not everybody lists it out. But Zae, he actually literally puts out who made the beats, and I'm gonna try to do this without making it play and so on, and see if I mean, he's got beats by The Apologist, did a lot of his beats. Chris Jones, which I just reviewed his album the other day. Blessed Nazarite. Man, some of these beats are awesome. And so, I mean, just to give you the playlist, it's not a huge album, but Coming Home featuring Hazakim, Ecclesia with sound bites from R.C. Sproul. You can never go wrong with putting Sproul on your album. On the Walk, and I'm going to show a piece of this video, and this was a song that I was just like, it took me by surprise, and I was just like, I was tripping on it, but it was good. And something Triplex, Follow the Master, Passport. So these are the songs that are on there. It's just a 6 songs on the album, so just a little EP going on. But again, I was like, how come I missed this? And so I had to talk about it this week. On the Walk, and I'm going to play a portion of this video here real quick. But man, I started listening to it, and again, hearing the lyrics and stuff like that. But whereas usually you get a song that is a beat, and you're like, the beat is there, and you got multiple verses over a beat. This is a song with one verse over multiple beats. There's a portion of it here, and it only gives you one of the beats where I'm gonna play here for you in just a second. But let me get my head out of the way. And so, but listening to this song when you go get the album, it's this verse that you're gonna hear here, but it's over like 3 or 4 beats. It's actually, there's only 1:24 in here, which is one of the beats, but it's a 4-minute song. So here real quick, here is Zae da Blacksmith, On the Walk, the very beginning. And the lyrics are here too, which I love. So, because then I can understand.
Let's go for a walk and have a heart-to-heart. I got a couple thoughts regarding what's involved in things that make it tough to walk with God. Some of these things have been a part of my struggle, and it seems that you'll see them in times of my worst troubles. Right off the top is breaking away from the flock. Whether you like it or not, you're just waiting to get got. You don't want to fight alone when temptation come to get you. And the same goes when you won't listen to the wisdom given by the means of grace and your brothers and sisters. That's one of the things the Lord set in position to correct us. Brothers, come on, you know we gon' be struggling if we don't hold to that Job 31 covenant. And oh, I don't mean to seem legalistic, but I'm so convinced we slip when we neglect spiritual disciplines. This is a love affair, we need to fan the fire, so I pray we make the Lord the deepest of our heart desires.
So there you go. That's just the first part of available now. That's just the first part of On the Walk, and it goes on, and there's like, I think 3 other beats that come in, and it's again the same verse over those beats. Maybe it's a little different. I just know that the beginning of each one is the same. Again, I have to listen like 8 or 9 times before I catch, because I get caught in the beat. I'm the guy that I'm trying to listen to the words, and the next thing I know, I'm just bobbing because I'm stuck in the beat. So that's a little bit about me, and that's why it takes me so long to to really get to the point where I can review an album, because I want to make sure that I hear it, and I have to force myself to sit and listen. So that is Alchemy by Zae da Blacksmith. Again, now here's where I jump on my bandwagon, the beat the dead horse that I constantly beat. Go buy this album. Don't just stream it. I don't know. I don't stream anything. I don't do Spotify. I buy albums and I listen to them, and I put them on either on Amazon or Google Play. I don't have subscriptions to either one of those. I mean, I have my Amazon Prime, so I do get a few songs that I can stream, but I don't stream. I'm not patting myself on the back here. I want to support these brothers that are making music, and sisters. Jackie Hill Perry. I don't know any other female rap artists. Somebody hit me up and give me some good female CHH artists. I'd love to hear more. I mean, I get Jackie Hill Perry's there, and praise God for that sister, but I would love to hear more women. But we got a lot of guys, a lot of dudes that are making albums, and they're good. It's like I said, these are guys that God has given a gift to glorify himself through their ability to write rhymes and make beats and stuff like that. So we want to support them, because I want to see these guys be able to continue to make the music that they're making. So I will always tell you, don't stream it. These guys don't make hardly anything when you stream the songs, and Curt doesn't release his songs to stream for a long time. He just put them out. You can stream it on iTunes and Google Play and stuff like that. But go buy the albums. Spend $10, $15, whatever it is. I mean, most of these guys don't sell these for more than $10. A lot of them you can go to. Bandcamp is what I recommend, because I like Bandcamp because it gives me the opportunity sometimes, if I want to give more than what they're selling, I can. And I would recommend that too, really, honestly. You can support guys on Patreon and stuff like that, but if you're gonna, if you can just go buy the album, go to Bandcamp, and if it's $8.99, make it $10. Give a little extra to help these guys out, to make sure they're able to continue making music. So that's my recommendation. That's a dead horse I beat all the time. Buy these albums. Support CHH. Support your favorite artists. If you want these guys to keep being able to make the music that they're making, you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you need to go drop $10 on an album the way we used to back in the day. I mean, I had a shelf at one point in time back in when I came back from Germany, 1994, when I left Europe to come back to Washington State. I had over 700 CDs, hip-hop CDs, and I bought every single one of them. Most of them went on my Army DPP plan because I was a young, dumb kid, and everything went on credit. But still, don't use credit. I don't recommend it, but go buy these albums and support these brothers and sisters who are making CHH, that God has blessed them with a skill that I will never have. You'll never see me in a 16-bar challenge or a 32-bar challenge or a 4-bar challenge. I am not that skilled, because God has given it to them. I'll sit here and give my opinion because I think that's what God has skilled me in, talking. The gift of gab. That's what I got, and that's what I'll use. And I will use that to get you to go buy some of these albums and support these brothers and sisters who are making CHH. Buy their albums. Some of these guys have got books, stuff like that. Go support them. But right now I'm talking about Zae. I'm talking about Zae da Blacksmith. Go get this album. Go Bandcamp, wherever Christ-centric sells their albums. This is another thing that I've always done, and I try to do, is most of these guys are accessible on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. You can find them on Twitter. You can send them a message and say, hey, where would you recommend that I go buy your album? Is it good for me to get it on Amazon, or do you have another place where you benefit more? That's what I would recommend. I do Bandcamp because I can make sure that they benefit a little bit more. I don't know how much Bandcamp takes when I buy these albums, but I always give a little more. I don't always. I'm not going to, and this is not me bragging that this is what I do. This is me saying I love hip-hop, I love CHH enough to do this, and I'm recommending to you to do it as well. So, with that in mind, Zae da Blacksmith, Alchemy, amazing album. Go check out Cross Examine, Wrath and Grace podcast. You can check that out. A lot of these guys are doing some really cool stuff. Check out the books and stuff like that. And as always, preach the gospel at all times. Use words. They are necessary. And until next time, Soli Deo Gloria.